So without further ado, Ned, over to you.
Thanks, Teresa. So yeah, amazing to be here. Thanks everyone for making it. I kind of can't believe it in many ways. There are thousands of people who've come and signed up for the conference. This is our first conference. And sort of, I'm going to start by giving you a bit of an overview about why we're doing this and why we're even here. I'm going to talk a little bit about Great Question, but it's not going to be a sales pitch. And a little bit about how I see the future of research, and a little bit also about the future of Great Question. So we've got a new feature we're going to be launching today that I suspect a lot of you are going to want to check out. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how to make the most of the conference. So 3 months ago, we had this crazy idea to go and put on our first conference. And it's a little bit crazy because we're still kind of babies. We're less than 2 years old. In fact, our second birthday is on the 22nd of February. And so, like, what right do we have to go and put on a conference? And the rationale was we wanted to create a space that allowed us to connect and elevate not just the practice of research and the research operations teams that support them, but also all the other people who do research, but maybe don't have the title yet. So thinking about how do we help increase collaboration with the product managers, the marketers, the designers, and bring them all into a room together so we can better understand each other and each other's goals and missions and outcomes. And so ultimately we see research is about impact. It's about creating impact. It's about creating change in someone's behavior. And that happens when you're able to demonstrate to someone something new that they didn't know about a customer and their needs, and that they then go and take some action, whether they change how they're going to build a product, or how they're designing the user experience, or how they're marketing to go and identify more of those customers. So really exciting to get to talk to you all about this today. This session is more of a warm-up than it is a manifesto. So I'm going to keep my comments relatively brief and give you some time back. And that's because I also want to not only allow you to get time to get coffee and a cup of tea, but also you can come and join our conversation on Slack, which I'll show you in a second. Before I get started, I want to give a huge shout out to Teresa. Teresa is not just our host here today, a moderator. She's also the head of marketing at Great Question. And she's put a huge amount of effort into pulling this conference together, the amazing lineup of speakers that you've all seen, as well as all the attendees. So big shout out to T for pulling all this together. Okay, now, next step is the community. So join the conversation. There's going to be conversations happening in Hopin, and we'll be having some networking sessions throughout the day. But we also have our Slack set up. And the Slack is people who do research.slack.com. Go and sign up. There's individual threads for each of the talks on today. So if you want to do Q&A with the actual speakers, whether that's Kate Towsey or Krista Simon or anyone like that, they're all going to be in there answering questions. There's also going to be channels set up for if you're hiring or if you're looking for new opportunities, you can go and post into that community and connect with everyone else in the audience. And so without further ado, so finally, I guess on that, we don't know where the community is going to go. It may be something that lasts long after the conference. And we encourage you to invite all your people who do research, your designers, your marketers, your product managers to come and join that community as well. Maybe it'll stick around. Maybe it'll just for the conference. Let's not put too much expectation on it. So today, I've talked a little about what Powder is and why we're here. I'm then going to tell you a little bit more about myself and who I am, a little bit about Great Question, where we're going. We've got our special announcement, and then how to make the most of the conference. So yeah, my name is Ned Dwyer, co-founder and CEO of Great Question. I've been a lifelong builder. I've always been building something ever since I was a little kid. I came out to the United States about 10 years ago, or almost 12 years ago, actually, with my first company, and we sold that to GoDaddy in 2015. In fact, my same co-founder from that company, PJ, we've built Great Question to where it is today. And GoDaddy was so pivotal for me, not only in bringing me, I guess, to America and getting me to stick around here for a little bit longer than I anticipated, but also in that it inspired a lot of what has led us to build Great Question. They have a phenomenal research practice at GoDaddy, but it was the democratization of research was definitely very unevenly distributed. They had a fantastic tool set, but it was hard for me to get access as a product manager. And that was part of the inspiration that led me to go and build Great Question in how do we help to democratize research and make customer insights something that can be consumed not just by the research team or execs, but by everyone throughout the company. You can see I love building things as well, because in here is my office, which I'm very proud to have built during the pandemic. But my greatest achievement during the pandemic over the course of the last 2 years has actually been building Great Question. And so what is Great Question? And you might have to squint a little bit to see these slides are a little bit zoomed in, but in fact, I can help you out here by changing this. So the three parts effectively to what Great Question is. We're on a mission to democratize research, empowering every PM, designer, and marketer to put customer insights at the center of all their decisions. Where we started was with making it easy to build and manage a panel of your own customers. And so we think of ourselves really as research operations infrastructure. Build a panel, integrate in with your database, whether it's on Snowflake or anywhere else, schedule customer interviews, pay out incentives, make sure you're not over contacting people, and protect the data privacy of your users. The second part is helping you connect with the right methods to extract insights out of those customers, out of that panel. And so there we have, I believe, the best-in-class way to go and schedule customer interviews, whether it's for rolling research, focus groups, round robin, you name it. And then we have our survey tool as well as a prototype testing tool. And then finally, we have our UX repository to store and share what you're learning with your team all in one place. This includes free transcriptions, the ability to create tags, clips, and even highlight reels. So if you haven't checked us out yet, and this is the most salesy I'll get today, go and check us out at greatquestion.co, sign up for a free trial, and I would love to get your feedback. I'll be in the chat as well if you have any questions, and I'll also be running some demos later today. Enough about Great Question for a minute. So where have we come from? Where are we going? As we put together this conference, I really thought a lot about and talking to our principal research, Jane Davis, about what is happening to research as a whole as an industry. And where we've really come from, the research of the past was kind of this niche specialization. Yes, there were a lot of early supporters, and there have been for quite some time, but there were a lot of individuals, and there wasn't a lot of specialization in roles, or organizations, and relatively few frameworks that we use to organize or to structure how we thought about research. Things like research maturity models didn't exist. But as we've developed, as we've built on top of the industry, as we've gone along, we've effectively created an entire industry. The fact that we've got a conference here today with thousands of people attending is proof point of that. And we're only one conference out of hundreds that exist that run throughout the year, whether it's Advancing Research, the Learners Conference, which just got announced, or dozens of others that are happening. We have things like maturity models, organizational frameworks. We can talk about embedded teams or embedded research teams. And there are obviously a lot of specialized roles and teams. So we can talk about, even just within the research ops category, there are heads of research operations, people like Kate Towsey. There are research operations managers, coordinators, recruiters, and that's just within that one part of the industry, let alone if we then go and look at UX research as a whole, quant researchers, qual researchers, it's endless. But research democratization has also become a thing. And I think it's actually a sign of the development of the community that it's actually, it has traditionally been a much debated topic. The debate, as far as we're concerned, has been settled. Research democratization is a thing. It's just that it's not evenly distributed. And so democratization research for us is really about an organization that has buy-in to believe that everybody should be putting customer insights at the center of their product design and marketing decisions. It's that we have a dedicated research team, we have a dedicated ops team, but they're not necessarily the only ones that are actually performing the role of research. There are definitely organizations, and we have some here today, including Clever, where they may not even have dedicated research, but they have dedicated ops at the minimum. And then we have commensurate resources and budgets. And really we see this as the stepping stones towards that. But the reality is that this isn't the case at all organizations. Some companies don't believe in the power of research. Some companies don't have dedicated research or even ops teams, and some have no budget that's been assigned to that. And so this is where we say that it's not evenly distributed. People haven't yet understood the power of research. And so we really need to, one, be elevating the profession and elevating democratization, and to help to change the tide there. Today's speakers are going to do a great job in doing that. And so if you have people in your organization that are a little bit hesitant or a little bit doubtful of the power of research, I encourage you to try and get them in here today. We're posting all of these videos after the session, and so you'll be able to share them afterwards as well as clips and highlights for key moments throughout those talks. There's a lot of talks in here today. I encourage you to take your time at peopledoresearch.com/sessions to figure out what session that you want to come and be attending today out of this mix. Okay, so the world of evenly distributed research democratization is that everybody in the organization has access to insights. To me, this is the basic level. If at GoDaddy, this was the case. At a lot of the organizations I've worked at, this has been the case, but at some companies, it's not. It's hard to go and find research reports and insight reports. They have to be dug out. You have to seek them out. They're stuck in inboxes. There isn't a research repository. And on the other end, there is research that's being conducted, but maybe it's outside of the purview of the research organization. That could be whether it's market research, so it's not considered traditional UX research, or it could be a product manager conducting some customer interviews. The future of research is really ubiquitous. Rather than it being siloed within an individual organization, like the UX research team, someone with a team with a formal title, it's something that can be conducted by any marketer, PM, or designer. And in fact, the executive team demands that research is a part of every product requirements document, a part of every pitch, a part of every quarterly business review. And so research is to be democratized. It's happening right now, and it's about accepting that fact and empowering more people to be a part of it, but putting the guardrails in place to ensure that people don't burn their fingers. And then finally, future research is augmented. We're seeing the rise of artificial intelligence as a way to help us to effectively generate more pattern understanding. And we see this as the future. And I'll talk a little bit about how that's going to tie into a great question moving forward. And so how do we get there? Well, really, there are 4 key shifts that need to happen to evenly distributed democratization. The first is a cultural shift, and that's happened in so many organizations, some of the world's best companies, whether we're talking about Atlassian or Zapier or Figma, who've already accepted this vision of the world. But then it still requires ongoing education to convert new people to understand the power of democratization, but also to level up people's skill set in analyzing and understanding insights, or whether they're going to go and conduct research of their own. We also have to improve processes. And so that includes things like data governance, making sure we're protecting the privacy and security of user data. Even that's never going to be more important than it is today, or it's only going to get more important than it is today, I should say. And continue to improve those processes so that we're protecting not just the people who are doing research, but most importantly, we're protecting our customers. And then finally, it's implementing tooling that helps to set the guardrails in place and put hard limits to enforce the processes that we're developing. Ultimately, when we think about democratization of research, we believe that, first of all, democratization is here, and it's not a debate. It's really just about how much or how little you decide to democratize within your organization. But we believe that democratization is a tide that's going to lift all boats. It increases awareness of capabilities of the power of research. It removes barriers to participation, whether that's participating in the research or participating in insight analysis. And it elevates the specialist. That's people like us, people with the formal titles. And ultimately, it's about creating greater business impact. And so, Great Question is moving the world forward through three ways. One, by making it easy to access your customers where they are. We help to integrate in with your Snowflake instance, your Salesforce, any database that you have of customers, to create an opt-in database of people who want to participate in your research. We put guardrails in place to make sure we're not spamming people, over contacting them, but also to make sure that we're incentivizing them appropriately for participating in the actual research activity. We then connect them with the right methods. So I mentioned earlier, we have our scheduling tool for scheduling customer interviews in all its different flavors, from round robin to one-on-one interviews, even inviting along your fellow participants, fellow observers on separate customer invites. We then have our survey tool, which can be used for screeners or for running your own surveys. And then finally, we have a prototype testing tool for unmoderated usability tests. And then we have a UX repository, because ultimately these insights that we've developed from connecting to our panel of our own customers through scheduling customer interviews and running surveys and prototype tests, we now need to make sense of that. And then we need to get it into the hands of the people who do research, the marketers, the product managers, the designers. And so our repository makes it easy to automatically transcribe interviews, to codify them through our tagging, whether they're local or global, to create clips, highlight reels, and share them with our teams so that they have impact. All this is done in a way which is putting the data privacy and security of our users first, whether that's through our data governance modules, our GDPR, our SOC 2 compliance. When we look forward to 2022, we're continuing to build into these three themes. And so, I guess we look back, I should say. We've really built the most robust panel management system on the planet. I believe that we are the singular best research infrastructure that exists out there, and I challenge anyone who would like to discuss that. I'll be in the Slack community to hear your feedback. We then been executing against our methods, so rolling out advances to our screener logic, so we have skip logic. We have a question bank that you can save of pre-built questions and screener templates, as well as the ability to automatically screen people to be included inside of those research methods. And we've been adding a whole heap of additional ways to go and schedule interviews. And then we've also been beefing up our repository including things like local and global tags, creating highlight reels, better insight reports, make it easy to share and embed these into other places. When we look forward, there are two big themes which are going to be rolling out in the product over the course of the next year. The first is about collaboration. So being able to bring your team in, comment, tag them, very much like you would within a Google document, because research really is a team sport. And so how do we bring those people along for the ride? The second is artificial intelligence. So how do we help to create sense across huge corpus of data, whether that's, as you migrate all of your existing video content across, or your large quant surveys. But really it is about creating an autopilot for the researcher. We don't want to replace the researcher. We don't think it's possible. Maybe one day. It's not something we're interested in pursuing. It's more around how do we make your life easier as a researcher? But more importantly, how do we make it easier for the people who do research to make sense for the work that they're doing? And with that, I would like to talk about a new feature that we have that we're announcing today into private beta, or into public beta, I should say, because you will be able to come and join the beta at the end of this session. And that feature is our observer rooms. And so the problem that we're addressing here is that you want to bring everyone along to come and watch these sessions, and there's nothing like being in a live customer interview for your team. You see, I feel like it's the fastest way for people to really understand the problem of the customer. It becomes really visceral. But it's kind of intimidating to have 1,000 people watch you as the moderator and the participant. It can be quite intimidating for the participant. It's not a great participant experience. Even worse if people don't mute their microphones, or they're eating lunch, or they interject with questions and really run things off the rails. And so with Great Question Observer Rooms, anytime you schedule a customer interview, we'll spin up a separate observer room that you can funnel your designers, marketers, other stakeholders to go and watch. This separate observer room will have real-time transcripts, and so they can follow the session along without being able to interject. It works on Zoom, on Google Meets, and Microsoft Teams, so it's cross-platform friendly. And we think you're going to like it. I've got a really brief video I'm going to throw to Dante or Teresa, who can hopefully play.
Okay, and maybe to start, you can tell me a little bit about yourself and your role at the company.
Sure. I am a product designer at Widget & Co. And we make widgets for different types of people that love widgets. And on a day-to-day basis,
There we go.
I'm
If you could pause
working
that.
on designing the products
so
to help people find the right widgets that match their preferences.
Forgive the terrible acting
and
of Sean and PJ. This is not their forte. But what you'll see there on the screen, if we can pause that, Dante or Teresa, is on the left-hand side, we have a live stream from the Zoom room.
That's amazing.
Or the Google Meets room, or the Microsoft Teams room. Below, we have a live transcript, which is appearing automatically. And then on the right, we've got our space for our interview notes. So I really think this is going to help massively make it much more easier to collaborate with your stakeholders while still delivering a participant experience. You can go and sign up today. Go to greatquestion.co/features/observer-rooms. We'll be posting that link into the chat. We're posting that link into Zoom. You're not going to stop hearing about that for some time. We're letting in about 10 people a day until we get through the bottom of our wait list. And so you can sign up to the beta program via that link. Great, done. So final thoughts. I really want you to make the most out of this conference here today. There's some amazing speakers that are going to be here. Make sure you tune into those sessions. I'd encourage you to keep an open mind. Some of the topics I know are a little bit controversial, and people have got different ways of doing things, but I think that's the best way to go and learn, is going in there with an open mind. Connect with your fellow participants, whether it's here in the comments or in the Slack channel. As I mentioned earlier, there will be a Slack channel set up for people that are hiring. Hiring managers are absolutely here. And if you're looking for work or looking for new opportunities, that's a great place to engage. There's going to be Slack sessions set up for every conference chat. And so that'll be an opportunity for you to dive in and ask questions of the speakers here today, which I think is just an enormous opportunity. I'm really stoked that that's come together. And finally, I'd love for you to share what you learn on social media. So use the hashtag Powder2023 and to share that into Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever it is. I'll be keeping an eye out. So thank you so much for having us here today. I'm really excited for the talks, and I'll see you all later.
Thanks, everyone. Head over and try to do some networking, join the Slack community, and we will see everybody in the next session.